fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head and D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host back in our sound room this morning. Two guys we like to call TK and Heavy D. We'll talk to them a little bit later in the program. And, of course, out in Studio R, it's Covey and Kearns. Always excited to talk to them. And Ken, got you ready for more coffee cup here. Looks like you're ready to go. Another fun morning on FRL Talking Hoops.
Absolutely, Craig. You know, I woke up yesterday morning with a whole bunch of snow on the ground. I could barely make it to work. And then it rained all day yesterday, and who knows what it's going to be like. But I can guarantee you, Craig, it's going to be nice and hot in these gymnasiums. A lot of action going on this weekend. You know, we've got sectional semifinals in the girls' brackets. We've got opening rounds in the boys' brackets kicking off, Craig. A lot of action going on. We're going to cover it all for you tonight, Craig, and we're going over to the CCC, Craig, and we're going to talk to the star of the Arcanum basketball team, and that's Carter Gray. Carter is just a junior over there at Arcanum. He became a 1,000-point scorer the other night. He is their career leader in three-point, single-season record and career record for most three-pointers made. He's fun to watch. We've seen him play a couple times already, Craig. So we're going to talk to him. We're going to cover brackets. We got a lot to get in tonight.
Yeah, you know, this whole winter sports season, we've mainly talked to coaches. We did do a couple players. I know we had Courtney Pranger from Minster on the show, Sammy Whiteman from Covington. Finally going to get one of the boys and Carter Gray. So always fun to talk to the athletes as well as the coaches. Can't wait for that interview as well. And, you know, before we get into those tournament brackets, though, Ken, I know it's the MAC has still got a one weekend left to play. They're a little bit behind the rest of us here, but they still got something to play for over there, don't they?
Yeah, they do, Craig. And, the MAC typically finishes a week after the Shelby County League does, and a big game left there, and that's St. John's as the Blue Jays travel to St. Henry to take on Coach Rosenbeck and his Redskins, Craig. First place, league championship on the line. The Redskins, Craig, sitting at 7-1. The Blue Jays sitting at 6-2. And, Marion Local also at 6-2. So, see what happens over there Friday night. If Delphus can walk out of there with a victory, Craig, which I think it's going to be a great game, we could end up in a three-way tie here for a MAC championship.
Well, they've already got their tournament brackets set over there, even though they got regular season left to play here. But let's start out with them. Let's go through the boys' brackets. Let's go through the teams we know, I guess, and we'll do Division 4. So start up there in Walpock with that upper sectional. Let's look at that and give me your thoughts on that.
Well, Craig, in that Walpock upper sectional, Craig, I think you're looking at a St. Henry Minster sectional final there. The 1 and 3 seeds going to do battle. Two good teams, Craig, right there. I've seen them both play. It's a toss-up. They played earlier in the year. It'll be a battle of the two MAC schools right there, and see what happens.
Okay, well, let's go down to the Walpock lower then. What do you got there?
Well, Craig, Marion Local, I look forward to come out of the upper part of that bracket. The bottom part of that bracket, Craig, I don't know. Don't be surprised to see New Bremen get out of there. I think they're MAC tested. They're like 9-12, maybe 8-13 on the season. Not sure exactly what their record is, but boy, they've played a tough schedule. And it's hard saying they're the lowest of those seeds down there, but anything could happen in the lower part of that bracket.
I don't know much about those teams. Haven't seen them play. I did see that Lima Perry score against Bakken. It's a little surprised at how easily Lima Perry beat Bakken. So I look to them to maybe be a favorable team to play. Marion Local there. We saw Marion play the other night. I think that's going to be a good matchup. All right, well, let's head down south, Ken, and check out the Dayton 1 lower. Some teams we know there. What do you got in that bracket?
I think going to have a good semifinal match here between Bakkens and Ansonia. Ansonia is a good basketball team, Craig. Bakkens obviously very young, very quick, very fast. A lot of energy on that team. Bottom half of that bracket, Craig, the Fort Loramie Redskins are going to get to the finals. We'll see what happens from there.
You know, we kind of wondered, I know when the tournament draw came, where Fort Laramie would go, where Jackson Center would go, where Russia would go. Speaking of some of those teams, we'll get to those just a second. Let's check out the Dayton 2 upper, though. Some teams maybe we're not as familiar with, although we did see Newton in this bracket. What are they going to do, Ken?
Craig, I think you're going to see Legacy Christian get out of this bracket in general. You know, they beat a good Minster team earlier in the year. Don't know a whole lot about Cedarville. I know FM, Franklin Monroe's got a great player over there, and Ethan Conley, but look for Legacy Christian to win the upper part of the D2 bracket.
I agree with you on that one. And the Dayton 2 lower, speaking of Russia and Jackson Center, they're in this bracket.
Yes, they are. You know, you're going to see the Tigers obviously advance out to the lower half of that bracket right there. They're facing a combined 0-44 teams right there with Triad and Bradford. Top part of that bracket, Craig, very, very tough.
Yeah.
You know, I think you got Russia as the favorite, but take nothing away from Mechanicsburg, take nothing away from Fairlawn and Lehman. A very, very tough bracket. You know, Lehman and Mechanicsburg played the other night. Mechanicsburg beat them easily. But, boy, you know, that's a tough part. I look for Russia to get out to the finals, but, you know, 2 tough games for the Raiders to get there.
I do. I agree with you on that. I think it's going to be surprisingly tough, though, for Russia. You would think as a number 3 seed that maybe would be set up a little easier. Mechanicsburg beats Emmanuel Christian, I believe.
Yes, they did. Who beat Legacy Christian.
Yeah.
Who beat Munster.
Yeah. And then you got Fairlawn waiting in the wings for the same Fairlawn team that beat Jackson Center the other week. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a tough haul for Russia, but I agree with you. I see them getting to the finals there. Now let's talk a little girls basketball, and for that, we'll head out to Studio R, check in with Covey and Kearns. And guys, it's tournament time for the girls. I know a lot of games being played these last couple days. Some big games coming up tonight as well as this Saturday. Let's start like we did with the boys. We'll go all the way up to Wapak, and let's start with that bracket up there, guys, and give me your thoughts. Maybe rotate it a little bit. Covey, I want to hear your thoughts as well as yours, Kearns.
Yeah, for sure this Wapak district still getting settled. Basically, who's the team that Minster's waiting on in the wings? Still going out to battle here. Them games are going to be played this Saturday. Should be a great matchup between New Knoxville and New Bremen. I called that game earlier in the season, and it was a tight contest down to the very final seconds. I'm going to go with New Knoxville. I think they were the better team that night. They just didn't come out on top. In the lower bracket, I see St. Henry going against Marion. I'm going to give the advantage to Marion. And ultimately, I think New Knoxville will get out of here.
And let's go to the lower bracket.
Yeah, let's check out that Wapak lower. What do you got for that, Kearns?
Just like Kobe said, you're kind of waiting on Minster. Minster's been sweeping through pretty easily. They'll play their first game here February 23rd against Waynesfield, and they'll take care of Fort Recovery pretty easily, but they'll play, like you said, New Knoxville's going to come out of that, led by the MAC Player of the Year, actually sophomore Ivy Wolf. She had a fantastic season for Minster, so she's going to be leading them through this sectional, and I think they'll be the ones to get out.
All right, and let's head south. Check out those Troy brackets. Start with the Troy 1 upper. Covey, talk about this one a little bit.
Yeah, well, Laramie's just doing what I said, like yard work. They're just mowing through everyone, and I think they're going to mow the lawn tonight. Actually, or Saturday. No, nothing to take away from what Fairlawn did. I'm happy to see they got a big tournament win, but Laramie's just too much. We know this. I know it. You know it. Everyone knows it. Laramie's just too much. Mechanicsburg got a solid win over Jackson by about 30. So it shows you Mechanicsburg's got something to play with. But I still think Laramie's way too much. And by the time here next week we're going to be talking about Laramie in the district finals for the second straight year.
Covey, I want to ask you, speaking of Laramie, I saw on Wednesday that the All-County came out, Marissa Meyering, the player of the year. Did you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. I think county voters tend to lean more favorably on the team that won county. She may not have had the most points per game, but it's understandable. I don't think it was anything to dispute. She definitely deserved it.
Well, you know, you got to consider when they're winning games by 40, 50, 60 points every night, she's probably only playing about 16 minutes a game when you got somebody that's averaging more points than her might be logging 28 minutes a game.
Yeah, she could be putting up 20 a game if she wanted to.
All right, guys. Well, let's move down to that Troy 2 upper and Kearns. Talk about this one a little bit.
Kobe actually called the Lehman-Russia game last night. Russia prevailed. A slow second half start. I think they were down at halftime, but they came back, had a nice second half. But I think Balkans watched that game and showed that Russia kind of struggled against Lehman. Lehman's a scrappy team, but still very solid. They had a real nice season. Russia Balkans is definitely going to be closer than how it was in the regular season. Don't count Russia to get to that sectional final against Legacy Christian. And Legacy Christian coming out of the bottom, they played Houston last night and won. They'll play Riverside, probably get a nice win there. And I'd say play Russia or Botkins. It's kind of a toss-up. Obviously, I'd like to see Russia come out, but Botkins could definitely set up a game plan to take down the Raiders. So you'll look for Legacy Christian or Botkins and Russia to be in the sectional final.
Yeah, speaking of Botkins, I saw that the Huker girl over there, the freshman, I believe, was a second-team honoree there in the All-County, SCA All-County. So kind of anxious to watch her. Sounds like she's having a great season. Did get to see her earlier in the year, but kind of want to see how she's improved here come tournament time. But let's go down to the Troy 2 lower, Covey, and talk about this one.
Yeah, this Troy 2 lower sent up a great sectional final. Covington, Franklin Monroe. I think this will be the best sectional final, maybe second best, I take that back, out of any sectional final that we could possibly see. Covington versus Franklin Monroe. Power versus power, scoring versus scoring. You got Sammy Whiteman on the side of the Covington Buccaneers. You got Karina Conley on the side of the Franklin Monroe Jets. Yeah, they got another player I know by the name of Bella Cable. That's a solid player. How does the Covington core around Whiteman step up? I'm going to give the squeaking advantage just by the slimmest of margins to the Covington Buccaneers. But this Franklin Monroe team that I know is very young, and I think they're going to actually bump into that 2 slot next year. I think we can see Franklin Monroe girls make a bigger jump next year.
And real quick, Covey, we talked about the SCA all-county selections. CCC had their all-conference selections come out earlier in the week as well.
Yeah, they did. I believe Morgan Haney won the Player of the Year over there. He almost caught me off guard there. I do recollect that Morgan Haney did win the Player of the Year there, and deservingly so. She's a fantastic player. University of Albany commit. Go Great Danes over there in the American East Conference. So she's a very good player, high talented scorer, and Miami East is poised for a big run in Division III.
Hey guys, I got one question here before we go. I notice this every year. So in the Troy regional or the Troy sectional or in the Sydney sectional, your good teams always play in the first round, and your really bad teams end up getting stuck with the byes. In the MAC or the northern sectional, I'll call it, those teams, the good teams, always take the bye. And like Minster takes the bye or the 3 seed takes the bye. Why the difference there? Why do they always take byes up north, but down south of there the good teams always play? It's boys, girls, both. It's like that every year.
I just think it's a lot to do with coaching and how you're brought up with it around. You know, if you're used to taking a bye, for example, you're going to want to take a bye. But I know a lot of coaches around here say they want to play, they want to keep going at it. And it makes sense. It just depends on the situation, depends on the talent level and what seed you are. It all depends on situation.
I mean, if I'm Coach Wiss, I have no idea, and I'm not. Coach Wiss is a great coach. I'm not bashing Coach Wiss, but I have no idea why he takes a bye in that tournament sectional.
Yeah, everybody, your other
nobody's going to want to play him.
Nobody wants to play him. They're going to avoid him. But yeah, that does seem to be the trend year after year, doesn't it?
Yeah,
well,
boys and girls both.
Well, maybe it would cause any team that wanted to hop on him right away to say, well, I don't know, we'd have to win a game and then beat them. I don't know.
Interesting.
All right, guys, and I think we have one more Troy sectional to go over, and that's the Troy 3 lower. Daniel, what do you think about that one?
We obviously favor Tri-Village to come out of this one, and they got the bye, got the nice win, 62-26 over Miami Valley, and Catholic Central actually got a little upset against Bradford. Bradford won by 12, and they're now in the sectional final against Tri-Village. But it's still Tri-Village with their offensive power and the Downing girls inside. It's just too much for anybody to handle. So obviously see Tri-Village come out of that one.
How good could Bradford be if they wouldn't have lost
Skip Miller?
Miller.
Yeah.
Skippity skip.
Yeah, we just missed seeing her play, I guess, a little earlier this year, and she's unfortunately going to be out for the spring season, but I'm glad she's just a junior. Will be back next year, and I think that the coaching's done a lot over there at Bradford, as well as some great athletes that they've had coming up here in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, great stuff. Thanks for that. And with that, we'll take a short break, but stay right there because when we come back, we're going to talk some more basketball, including that big interview with Arcanum star Carter Gray.
My father said it's time to be home man, but don't go and town in the motherland. You were born with heart advised by foolish views. Religious divide among those may create civil war on my friendly land. Oh, 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 blood and bruised and slain. Oh, 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 pride in this name.
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking a lot of a D4 basketball, regular season, breaking down those tournament brackets, and now we're going to talk a little D3. That's because our next guest is a D3 star for the Arcanum Trojans. And Ken, last Saturday night, he had himself a very good night. The Trojans actually finished their regular season 14-8, including 7-5 in the CCC, and broke some records on Saturday night. A couple 3-point records, as you mentioned, at the top of the show for single season and career, and just for fun, he scored 1,000 points. Just a junior. We welcome to the show now Carter Gray. Carter, thanks for joining us on Fish Report Live.
Oh, hi. Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, I just mentioned you had a very good Saturday night this past weekend. Wanted to ask you, Carter, what's been the keys to your success with those 3-point records and that 1,000-point milestone?
I'd probably say I'm always in the gym. I'm always shooting, always perfecting my game, doing anything to make myself better as a player. But probably on the court, I've been blessed by God to have such a great coaching staff and teammates, and people that hit me with the ball when I'm open.
All right. Well, as well as a big Saturday night for you, it was also a big Saturday night, of course, for your seniors. Their last home game, senior night, is what we call it when that happens. But I know there's 5 of them on your team. I actually found a picture of them on Twitter. We're going to bring them up on our monitor here right now. But can you talk about those 5 seniors and what exactly they've meant to your program?
Oh, those 5 seniors were the best kids I've ever played with. They bring a lot to the table. They definitely help. Our senior, Wade Meeks, who's number 20, I believe, he's one of our guards. He had an ACL injury his junior year, which really hurt our team. But this year he came back better than ever. He's been in a tough matchup for a lot of opposing defenses, and he's probably one of the best passers on our program. And Evan Ashley, he is a move-in. He moved in his freshman year from FM. He's a great teammate and probably one of the best defenders I've ever played with. He'll shut down anybody. And Zach Smith, he's another great teammate to play with. He's one of our bigs down low. He's probably the most improved player on our team. And Lane Byrne, he's another big guy down low. He's a great teammate, and he's a really good rim protector for us down.
Carter, good morning to you. Ken Francis. Let's talk a little bit about the Trojan season here. You know, you started out the month of December. We saw you guys play. You played our Russia Raiders, you finished that month 5-4. You went into January and you went 4-3. But now the month of February, you're sitting at 5-1. What has Arcanum improved on? Is it you guys are playing better? Is it what is it that makes your record so much better? And you picked a good time to be playing your best basketball.
Yes, we did pick a good time to start playing our best basketball, that's for sure. But that Russia game, sorry you had to watch that. That was not our best show we put on there. But that was a low point for us for sure. We had our starting center, Grant Delk, who's a junior this year. He had an ACL injury within probably 4 minutes into the first game. He was a big part of our offense, or anything really. He was a great player, but that was definitely hurt us. And then I'd say right now probably we're playing our best. I think Coach has done a really good job at making sure we're all prepared and making us more into a family other than just like a team. I feel like we all care about each other and all want to win and compete for each other instead of just for ourselves.
Carter, you wrapped up the regular season last week against New Bremen. Big win for you guys. You take 9 days off before you play your first tournament game. That's a long stretch there with no not playing any competitive teams. I'm sure you're practicing hard, but how have you guys had to adjust during this long break?
Well, I've been out the past 3 days with the flu, so I haven't been able to do too much lately, but I've been talking to the coaches every single day. I talk to my friends, make sure everything, and I guess what I've been hearing is Coach is doing a really good job making sure we have our legs, making sure we're getting our shots up, making sure we're focused and prepared to do what we need to do on Tuesday to make sure we get the win against National Trail.
Yeah, speaking of National Trail, you beat them earlier in the year in December, actually by 6 points. What's it going to take for you guys to get a win this year? They're coming in, I think, as the number 5 or 6 seed, so a pretty good basketball team there in National Trail. How are you guys? What do you need to do this time to beat them?
Yeah, National Trail is a great team. They're a very tough team to play, but I'd say probably have to shut down Cameron Harrison, who's a really good, I think, a sophomore. He's a very good sophomore shooter. And then Zach Woodall, who's a migrate, a junior. He's a really good overall player. You have to keep him off the boards and box him out for sure. And then it'll come down to defense for sure. That game will be all defense.
Carter, you're only in your junior year. You've got the postseason here to look forward to. You've got, I'm sure, a lot planned, either this spring or this summer with other sports, or maybe it's all basketball. But what have you got looking forward to in your college days? You got a whole year ahead of you yet. Any college inquiries? Any hopes of playing at the next level? What's your plans for the future?
My plans for the future is to play college basketball. That's undecided right now, but I've been talking to some colleges like Dayton University, Tulsa, Furman, Akron, Navy, High Point, and Marshall University. So they're all good schools to talk to, but yeah, that's definitely my goal, is to play college basketball. Hopefully all goes well.
Hey, listen, Carter, we got time for one more question, but I wanted to tell you that I read a good newspaper article here not too long ago from Dale Barger there at the Daily Advocate, and he was writing about your you guys just recently recognized, I believe, the 1969 state basketball championship won over there at Arcanum. And one big part of that team, from what I understand, was your grandpa over there, Dave Gray. And I know it talked about him a little bit in the article. And I know that he actually has I believe he's still as in the record books over there at the state tournament. I think he had a rebounding record, or still has a rebounding record there for a single game perhaps, or maybe 2 games. I know he's part of maybe top 5 in a scoring record over there right now as well. But and then your dad, he played basketball for Arcanum, some pretty good Arcanum teams back in the early 90s, I believe. When you set these couple records on Saturday night and got this 1,000-point scoring record, can you share with us maybe a little bit, maybe what your dad or your grandpa said to you after all that?
Well, they were definitely happy after the game, that's for sure. But during the game, when I went over to hug my mom and dad, my dad said, "Hey, just keep putting it up and try to beat the next record." And I did, and I looked over and saw him smiling, so I did what he wanted me to do. But no, my dad and grandpa, they've been there for me, and they do a lot of stuff for me. So it was really good to see them happy and both very proud of me, and happy that all my hard work paid off.
Well, listen, Carter, that's all great stuff. You've congratulations on 3 great years of basketball. Good luck in your tournament trail this year, and whatever the future brings for Carter Gray, we wish you the best of luck. So we'll see you on the court probably. I assume next year when the Raiders travel over to Arcanum, and we'll see you then. Until good luck, and thanks for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Take care.
All right, that was Arcanum junior star Carter Gray. And Ken, speaking of going to Arcanum, I don't know how other people feel, but I really like that gym over there. I think it's kind of unique, and I really like it. Some people say it doesn't have the greatest leg room over there, but everything else about it I really like.
Well, Greg, Craig, it is a great gym. I really like that gymnasium, and as a matter of fact, we went to Arcanum last Saturday and went somewhere besides the gymnasium, but there's a place over there called Briars that's a fun place to go to. So if you're ever over in the area, if you can't go to the gym, go to Briars.
And we thought we saw Clayton Murphy over there, but it turns out it was maybe his twin.
It wasn't even his brother.
We asked him if it was, and he said he told us no relation at all.
There's good pizza over there too, made by Mr. Good Looking.
That's right. Well, let's head on back to the sound room and check in with TK and Heavy D. And guys, looks like Heavy D, I know you're a little under the weather, aren't you, right now?
I got the sniffles.
All right. Well, I know TK. We talked a little earlier with Covey and Kearns about those all-county, SCA all-county selections coming out. And I know last week we talked about how your choices for Player of the Week were going to get whittled down here week by week. So what do you have for us this week?
Yeah, some exciting stuff. We talk about liking buzzer beaters. The other thing we like around here are upsets. And we had one of those Friday night, and our first two-time Star of the Week, Ashton Piper, gets it this week, 18 points, leading his Fairlawn Jets to the upset win over the Jackson Center Tigers. That includes 2 free throws and what ended up being 7 for 10 for the Jets from the line in OT to seal that victory. So exciting stuff there for that Fairlawn team and Ashton Piper. So congratulations to him for a great game and a good season. And again, good luck going into the postseason for that Fairlawn Jet team.
Very deserving, guys. And you know what? I don't know about you. I was shocked when I saw that score. I know Jackson been playing so well. I was shocked.
Well, not only that, I was totally shocked the fact that Jackson was playing so well and Houston beat Fairlawn the week before.
Yeah.
At Fairlawn.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. I'm still shocked.
Well, I think it speaks to the parity of this league this year.
I agree.
And we talked about Fairlawn was down there in the number 6 spot in the county.
And said they're a good team.
Yeah, that's exactly right. TK, I don't know how you felt about it, but again, I was very surprised.
Yeah, very surprised. But like Ken said all year, we've talked about it. Parity across the board. I think Fairlawn's just not really come up with that end of the game streak that put them over the top. And this time they did. They held down some scores on Jackson Center and kept their heads in the game, and they came out on top. So, hard work paid off for them that time by just grinding it out there at home.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, when you're playing Jackson Center, the score's going to be in the 30s.
That's for sure.
And, with some of the firepower that Fairlawn had, they're just enough for them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right, Heavy D. Well, I know you're under the weather. Did you have time to get to the mailbox this today or this week?
The snow was too high this morning. I could not get out to the mailbox, but I'm sitting here in the morning here drinking a little bit of cough medicine, and that helps the throat and clears the sinuses. So we'll defer to next week.
All right. Well, that sounds good. All right, guys. Well, thanks for that report. And with that, it's going to wrap things up for us here this morning. Do want to say special thanks to our guest, Carter Gray, for joining us this morning, as well as you viewers out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew, we're all going to be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great day, everyone.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole. When you tune in to the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond.